Okay, connecting heaven to earth. The protons coming down to mate with the electrons. The electrons need to flow through the body. We were never meant not to be connected to this flow of electrons. And in the modern lifestyle, we're never connected to them. So, I mean, just getting, if you've got a clean ground, there's two things just to consider before I get into this. And there's somebody else that filmed some more details of the actual mechanics of building your own simple home earthing devices. But the basic premise is this is going to be for the human body. Okay, you also want to have your equipment, particularly any expensive equipment, your refrigerators, your computers, those kind of things can get very damaged, especially in Central and South America, in places where there's a lot of pulses, where you get surges, and there's no proper grounds in most of these houses. So I deal with that in another video, how to, if you don't have a proper ground, which, I explain how to test that. And if you don't, there's simple ways of doing it, but it's nicer, it's much more desirable to separate your personal earthing as a separate wire and from your normal house grounding and your equipment, because to me, there could be cross-contamination. But the bottom line, you need a copper rod, grounding rod, very simple, not expensive. This has got an iron core. We cut a regular house ground into 3 pieces, one for a dog, and that's hammered in somewhere where it's going to be most moisture. You can actually water your rod, especially like here we get a rainy season. Now in the rainy season, the earth is saturated and everything is conductive much more. And we get a dry season here where it doesn't really rain for 6 months. And I'm actually going to water my copper rod. I have already one. I've always had one. I've always been grounded all the time. Luckily, it's easier here because backwards is forwards. Concrete, they don't use vapor barriers. It's very damp. It creates other problems, but concrete is grounded. So anyhow, basically, if you're just getting to nature, and we're talking here just grounding the human body, I mean, you want to be able, this is a shoe I got at the packet, not even advertised, but it's made from hemp rope. It's definitely grounded. I love them. Oh my God, it's too good. So I can walk around on the concrete, on the grass, on the beach, not worry about stepping on glass and poo-poo and stuff. Now, they're really hard to find, but I love moccasins. I used to, it used to be a big part of when we were children. I used to love them. Moccasins were quite common when I was younger to buy, as were leather shoes. I mean, I think the original Beetle boots were even leather, but you can't get leather anymore. It's all rubber and plastic have separated us from this magnificent energy coming up from the earth. But these are some examples. Now, I've got some simple patterns we're going to get people to make out of leather, and different ways of grounding them. But leather is grounded. So this is a moccasin. I was surprised. I got these in a secondhand store, and I wore them 3 months. They took 3 months to wear out one layer, which is not particularly thick. And it would be easy to replace that, because the rest of the shoe is fine. And I wore them on concrete, on rock, and I was surprised they lasted that long. And it's a glorious feeling to be connected. Particularly, I go down the beach and I love barefoot. But barefoot doesn't work anymore too often because you can step on sharp things. I get glass on my feet, and that's where you get parasites and eggs and stuff coming through, cuts in your feet. So this gives you the feeling of being grounded without worrying so much about what you're stepping on. So those are some ideas. Let go leather. It's very hard to find. Now it's also simple to design, like a little slipper. Like, what was it? Did I have one? Yeah. Like if I haven't if you had a little like a slipper, leather slipper, you know, you could have, you know, literally it could plug into a ground and you're free in that wire. So you're free to walk around. I hate the idea of paying a lot of money for these mats. It sort of ties you into a prison where you're stuck, you know. It's just a crazy idea, really, and kind of like it's not very functional ergonomically. So I have several designs where we're going to sort of incorporate things like slippers and different fabrics, you know, to basically bring the earthing into your house. This is the simplest way, and this is what I've used for 12 years now, but it's basically just a nice soft copper, single thick wound copper that curls around on a pretty, you know, just a regular copper house wire. It goes out to a copper rod in the wetter part of the garden, banged in about 3 feet, and I just slip it down my sock or down my pajamas at night, or you just hook it. You know, I love to meditate. I'll put it like down my shirt, put it on my solar plexus, and I'll put like a magnet there as well. I mean, they're even putting it on the third eye. But I'm addicted to being grounded now. This is ridiculous. I mean, it costs you $10 to, you know, set up something like this with the copper rod, but you're looking $20 max to be earthed, and you can have this rod going a long distance, so you can, you know, you can always be connected to it. That is the simplest way. You can sleep that way. That's the way I've been doing it. And I'm actually the earthing mat that we did the other day. We have a video. This is the dog version, just going into for a friend's dog. And they work just fine, you know. I put one on a massage table here, and I tested it, and it feels really good. I mean, you know, it hooks underneath. I haven't, you know, hooked it up yet, but it'll be very tight, you know, snug. And, you know, to be honest, it feels nice. This is the only part. You have to make sure that there's no barbs coming through. Put a little extra duct tape, and then you could have a fitted sheet go over this with that part cut out, as long as your feet are connected to that. And it's wonderful because, you know, this is very, very conductive. I use the meters to test, and you can spend a lot of money on these fabrics that they don't come close to this simple design. So I talk about that in the other video. So that's, and also, you know, this is your personal stuff. So you have a ground coming in. This rod goes to your bed. It could go to a few of these things. It go to where your pet sleeps, perhaps. And I will be using grounding for lots of other functions that people don't really talk about, like grounding your water tank, what your grounding all my probiotics, everything involving Faraday protection with a Faraday cage. You know, they have all these beautiful paints where it stops the dirty electricity penetrating through your walls and fabrics, but none of them work if they're not grounded. So grounding to the free electrons of the earth is what absorbs and takes away the toxic stuff that allows us to discharge. Just like, you know, I'll talk about later about how batteries discharge. We're basically like a battery, and we're not being donated the free electrons of the earth, you know, connecting to what's coming down. We're just getting the bullshit coming down, which is fine, but it has to be, you know, it has to be balanced. So the free electrons of the earth can be brought into your life without anything special, you know. If you happen to live in certain parts of, you know, industrial areas like Canada where they've contaminated the ground so severely, and you got all these wires and rods and pipes and discombobulated plumbing going to the ground, you have to, then it would be good to hire somebody if it involves like renting a house or buying property, or just, in a situation like that, you either would move to the country or to an area where you have a cleaner ground, because not even the country can guarantee, in places like Canada with smart meters and all this stuff, you could be at the end of the line. So you have to kind of like remember, when I'm talking about earthing and the health benefits of earthing, I'm not talking about connecting to dirty pollution in the ground. I'm talking about connecting to the way nature is. And luckily, that's usually not too hard to find. But you still want to be aware. You know, it's a feng shui. It's kind of a new, you know, just being able to tap into light, water, magnetism. Earthing is a form of magnetism, and if you don't have that flow of electrons, they actually apparently they're going both ways. At one time they were saying they're coming into you, but apparently it's like probably some kind of spiraling toroidal, you know, in and out. But it basically it's cleansing. It's married to the flow of what's coming down from the biosphere. It's like plants, photosynthesis. You know, light coming down. The plants are super earth. You know, all trees, all root structures, you know, are super earth, and they're connected, you know, plus they're very, you know, like most living things were mostly water or salt water. Plants, you know, use minerals. They're all salt. They're all highly conductive minerals in plant food, and so you've got this marriage of heaven coming to earth, and we got to bring it into our homes. We got to do it. So that's some ideas. Anything else? I think that that's the main thing. I'm really excited about. I've done some experiments, and I want to do it controlled, where you get, for example, you know, two plants, identical clones, growing in the same situation, different pots. One's earth, one's not. You're using animals to pick which bowl of water they prefer. One is grounded, one's not. One has different energetics. And usually the animals have an intuition still, or at least a lot of them still do, if they're not too domesticated like their owners. But the bottom line is, it's all free energy. You know, light, water, magnetism. We've been separated from these important elements, and it just doesn't make sense anymore to ignore the gifts. The gifts, you know, the free blessings that, you know, are being bestowed on us. Light, water, and magnetism are properly applied. You know, and when it's integrated, you get all these, the sum is much, much greater than the parts. You get all these other things going on, ormus, and when you combine light, infrared light, and the electron flow, and, you know, easy water, like really high quality water, you start creating, there's no limit. There's just no limit to what starts to go on, and it's all just too good, because you can feel it. I mean, if you get it all working together, and you've got, I just use the word flow. To me, you know, things flow. That's why anybody that doesn't slant their head bed 6 inches higher is, you know, gotta love pain, because that's the easiest thing ever. Get your head exactly 6 inches higher. You know, it's in my notes. I have quite a bit of writing on it. It's called the Egyptian slanting things, and it's how you know, things flow, and it's the way water flows through plants and trees and up mountains, and it goes upwards. It's not what you think. It's very counterintuitive until you understand there's this upward spiraling flow. If you see slow motion time lapse of plants growing, they're actually doing this really amazing Sufi dance. The plants, and they now know plants because they can see, they have vision. But the thing is, it's this flow. Flow is such a beautiful word, and we've been cut off from all the free stuff, the electron donors, the ultimate antioxidants. Well, not the ultimate, because hydrogen water is even better, but these are up there with the best blueberries, and it's free. I mean, you just tapped in. And I basically managed to be grounded most of the time. I mean, all the time. I even have shoes now where asphalt, or if you're in some place with tile floors or whatever. That's different. But generally speaking, I try to get connected to the earth. If it's through leather shoes or if it's through, I mean, it is lovely to walk barefoot when you have a little area where you can do it without other issues. So peace and love, earthing. It's free.